Hey guys, this is Maniac. Today, like you may realize on this map, we will be doing the deck profile from Bandit Keith. Bandit Keith, like its name already says, is a very sinister, cunning, and crafty character. He's a symbolism for thieves. And like the name Bandit itself says, it is really a good conclusion that he might be a thief. And due to his actions, like stealing the stars from his companions to get onto the castle of Pegasus, for example, or then being used in the Battle City era from Merrick and cheating while playing, as he did in the Duelist Kingdom finals, shows that it is very near drawn onto his character being a thief and being very crafty person. Now, guys, you have to have in mind that we only had two full arcs in which Bandit Keith was taking place. And in Battle City, he was just an outcast, non-main character, and he was controlled by Marek, but Marek Ishtar, not Yami Marek yet. And so it's not only his cards from the Duelist Kingdom arc which we have in his deck, but of course also the very cards which were added onto his deck to boost his deck a little bit up and to make it more playable. But still, we have taken into account that he had in the Duelist Kingdom arc very many monsters who had 5 or 6 stars due to the fact that we had no tribute system, and that those very cards I put into side deck, because otherwise, like I said, this deck will be too much overpowered. Now, to begin with, I put in his as his monsters lineup. I put, like I said, I wanted to make a deck, or always want to make decks which will be playable at least at the gold format. So I put in there 3 of these ground attacking Bokroths, 4 stars Earth attribute with 1500 attack and 1000 defense, and like all of his monsters, or like most of his monsters, it's a machine type, because his deck is lined up around machine type monsters. But like I already mentioned, as Merrick Ishtar put some of his cards in his deck, he has different types also added, like fiend type monsters, which are otherwise very irregular and unusual for his style. These, of course, is 3 of. There were not that many monsters which he possessed in the Duelist Kingdom era, and had 4 stars or fewer. So I had to put this as a 3 of, and of course in Battle City Arc there were still vanillas played, so I played this into his deck. Then I have a mechanical chaser, probably or most likely his strongest card, with 4 stars, 1850 attack and 800 defense, machine type, of course, earth attribute, darkness attribute, of course one of his like I said, strongest monsters without attribute. Then further on, I put 2 cards in there which he did not possess, but like I said, to make it playable, you have to close a gap. I put in there Gigatech Wolf as a 2 of, 4 stars, fire attribute, but also machine type, 1200 attack and 1400 defense. There we go. Well, maybe I put it a little bit higher. All that. Come on. So you have a better focus there. There we go. Yeah. And then I put in there another one as a 3-off, because like I said, he's really much lacking 4 stars or fewer fewer stars monsters. So I put Blast Sphere, which he played out. Think even in the Battle City arc, or maybe in the Duelist team, I'm not sure. But this is now his first non-vanilla monster that I have here, which has 4 stars. It's a dark attribute and of course also machine type. It has 1400 attack and 1400 defense. This one is the version from the Jump Pack promo in the old days. And its effect is, if your opponent's monster attacks this face down defense position card, this card becomes an equipped card equipped to the attacking monster without applying damage calculation. Destroy the equipped monster in this card during the standby phase of your opponent's next turn and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the equipped monster's attack. So also a good burden damage and a good defensive lineup, of course, as it's not destroyed if it's attacked. Then a card which I just took from the manga, because in the manga also Bandit Keith used a couple of cards which were not in the Duelist Kingdom or in the Battle City era present, like Motor Gadget. Motor Gadget, 4 stars, Darkness attribute, 1300 attack, 1800 defense, so a good defense measure. And it also has an effect. If this card is brought onto the graveyard from the field, you can put one machine type token, machine earth attribute, 1 stars, attack 200 and 200 defense as a special summon in the attack position. And yeah, that's it. So also, even if your opponent pierces through this defense line up, you can even special summon a token and have another protection for your life points in there. And then further on, I have Cyber Jar in there. Cyber Jar, of course, a very handy card which makes you draw cards if you this flip effect. But it's a rock type monster with 3 stars, a dark attribute with 900 attack and 900 defense. It's the flip effect, so you have put it face down first, so it's a little bit slow, but still it's very convenient as you maybe as a trump card. If maybe you don't have any cards in your hand, and then you, like I said, the effect is both players then draw 5 cards. All monsters are destroyed on the field, and all the 5 cards are shown. And from the very 5 cards that are in both players' hands, which are picked up, you have then to special summon the 4 stars of fewer lower stars monsters in open face-up attack position or face-down defense position. So that makes is a kind of a board breaker, and then you can line up maybe as a defense measure, or maybe gain the upper hand and go ahead to the attack, as it also destroys all monsters of the field, like I said. Very good trump card, which I recommend all of you guys to have in the Go format, at least as a one-off, of course. Then further on, I put a card in there which I thought makes sense. But first of all, I think I have a card which he might have used in the manga, but I'm not sure whether it was the manga or the anime. I'm not recalling it right, so maybe I might be right. I'm not very sure about that. Which is the not blasting sphere, but blasting. I have to look it up because I always forget about the words. It's also a machine type, of course, but it has a wind attribute and 3 stars with 1000 attack and 1000 defense. And I put it there as a 2 off. Of course, adhesive explosive it's called. And it has also an effect if this card sorry if this card attacks a monster in a defense position of your opponent, this card is used as an equip card, which equips the attacking monster. Then without damage calculation, you destroy the attacking monster at the standby phase. Well, it has the same effect as Blast Sphere, just with fewer defensive and attack stats and also stars, but still it's a machine type, of course, also. Yeah. I'll make it a little bit bigger there. So, also I put in a card in there which, before I was coming to that, which makes sense because we have Zera the Mant in this deck, and Zera the Mant is a card which was added by Marek. So I put in there Warrior of Zera, which is a warrior type monster, of course, but still. I thought just it would be a logical conclusion to add that into the deck, and you also have another 4 stars Earth attribute warrior type monster with 1600 attack, 1600 defense. Ain't that bad of attack and defense stats, at least for the Battle City arc. Now we're coming final to his boss monsters then, because of course, like I already said, I put some of them out because otherwise this deck gets too overpowered. But I put in the side deck, so if you choose to put it in there, you can of course do it, and maybe use another version of it. Of course, at first I have as a boss monster Slot Machine with I think 7 stars, Dark attribute. Machine type, of course, 2000 attack and 2300 defense. For 7 stars, a little bit weak, but let's just make a beginning. Then, of course, Machine King with 6 stars, but 2200 attack and 2000 defense. And machine type, of course, Earth attribute, and it has the effect for each machine type monsters which is face up on the field. Its attack with is to be increased by 100 points. So even 200 attack points more than that, but 1 attribute fewer. So ain't that bad. And sorry guys. There we go. Yeah. And further on, it's not ain't that bad. I want to have the comparison because yeah, you see this one is very much more practical. Then Launch Spider, another of his vanillas with also 7 stars, 2200 attack and 2500 defense. So even more than that, but still 200. No, same amount of stars, but 200 more attack and 200 more defense. And of course, one of his other significant boss monsters, which I think played out first in Duelist Kingdom arc. Then, after my opinion at least, the Bandit Keith boss monster card, namely Barrel Dragon, which I think is very, very cool. I don't know how you guys see this one, but I think it's very cool. And of course, it has also 7 stars. Earth, Dark attribute. Oh, I forgot to mention this has a fire attribute. This Earth, there's darkness. This one has also darkness and it has a 7 stars, but 2,600 attack and 2,200 defense. With machine type effect, it is. I thought first as I heard this could very much be a Duke Devlin or a Joey Wheeler card, because it works with toss a coin 3 times. If 2 of 3 results are heads, destroy more monsters on your opponent's side of the field. This effect can only be used once per turn during your main phase. So you got it. But the Bandit Keith also was a very much casino-like person who likes to gamble. So I thought it would be also, of course, very proper to put it in his main deck, not in the side deck. And then last but not least, the last one, Zero Demand, which has 8 stars with 2,800 attack and 2,300 defense. A Fiend type monster, which of course is there due to the influence of Marek Ishtar and his manipulation of decks, which he of course did also here. Yeah. Yeah, and of course that one is his strongest monster. So this is his monster line up, because like I said, to make this deck a little bit more playable, I didn't use the support cards because the support cards I want to use then in a turbo deck profile, which then includes the support cards, a futuristic deck profile, and Bandit Keith in the GX timeline, for example, as a turbo deck deck profile then. And then of course I would also maybe make an ultimate deck profile, which then includes these cards and the other ones, and the turbo would just work with the support cards which he had, and maybe then other boss monsters at least, but not all of his cards which he played out. The ultimate deck profile will be taking his best cards with the support cards all together, but you have to put I have to put the cards which he used in there, so it's a mix, you might say. So very long speech, but yeah, now onto spell cards. Limiter removal, which I'm not sure whether he played it, but it's very much a card which I might imagine he would have it. Quick spell card, which of course doubles the attack stats from the all machine type monsters which you control currently. For 1 turn just, I think, until the end phase, and then you have to destroy them. In the past, this card I also of course pulled it out of Pharaoh's Servant in the past, and also in the not far past, but like 1 year ago, I think. Oh yeah, something like a 3/4 of a year. So this one is it, and it was very much handy at that time. Then a card which as a reference to one of his manga spell cards which does not exist in the TCG, which is Deck Blockade. The artwork looks very similar, but I think the effect is another. But still, with Deck Blockade, of course, you can prohibit your opponent from making special summons and taking cards from the deck to the hand, except for drawing. And yeah, they're just all everything then just for 2 rounds, 2 turns. It's a 2-turn block, you might say. Then a card which he played out, took into his duel, I think maybe against, I don't know whether it was against Yugi or against Joey Wheeler, but Stop Defense was a card which he definitely played out. Of course, it's a staple, and I'm not 1000% sure whether he played this actually out, but yeah, as a gap filler at least, of course he would also be having a Monster Reborn. Graceful Charity, which he played out in the Battle City arc. Tribute of the Doomed, a card which he then in the Battle City era probably just took from Marek, or Marek gave it into say it better. D-Spell, a card which I think also gave Marek to him. Then there's a card which doesn't recently exist in the TCG, and I might imagine it will come out, but Iradat, which it's called Pillager, and you have a figure on the front of the picture which looks very much like Bandit Keith and is a thief. Because due to the fact that it has the ability, it's a spell card, to basically take 1 card of your opponent away, and then give it, take it onto your hand. And as I thought, he is such a stealer bastard, you might say, and thief. I put in there Snatch Steal, which also is a card which he might have had in his deck. That's just my imagination, because it's also a card stealing from your opponent. Basically, of course, an equip spell card in order to take one of your opponent's monsters and then took permanent control of it. And then always the standby phase your opponent gains 1000 life points for it, as well as confiscation. You pay 1000 life points, and then you can take one of the cards of the hands of the opponent and then discard that card to the graveyard. Then I have a card which he of course played out 3 times, 7 completed, which he cheated with. What I mean with he cheated with it, he in the Duel Monsters era, as well as in the Battle City arc, he took it from his basically from his pullover, because of sweatshirt, I don't know where exactly it was, on his arm, from his arm, and put it onto his spell line up onto the field, which of course is cheating, as he just didn't draw these cards from the deck, as it's 3 off in both arcs. And of course 7 completed is an equip spell card which increases the attack and defense or attack or defense stats of a machine type monster with 700 attack or defense. And so it's also very, very convenient. Then Curse of Fiend, a card which I think is a reference to Marek Ishtar, and he himself might logically put this one into his deck, because Curse of Fiend changes the battle position of all attack position monsters on the field to defense position and vice versa. These positions cannot be changed during the turn this card is activated, except by the effect of a spell trap or effect monster card. You can activate this card only during your standby phase. But because it's also called Curse of Fiend in this sinister tone that you have onto the artwork from that card, it is very much reasonable that you might conclude that, or have the conclusion that it also, like Tribute to the Doom, for example, or Dispel, was put in there from Marek Ishtar. Then I have a Machine Morph Factory, which also is an equipped spell card, like you might realize, and it also has an monster increase attacks and defense stats increasing effect with increasing the attack and as well as the defense stats of the machine type monster which is opened up face up on the field by 300. And last but not least, also a card which Marek Ishtar logically put into his deck, namely Zero Ritual, which of course is the ritual card in order to bring out Zira the Mant. And yeah, that's about it. Those were also spell cards which I put in there. I think you might, if we are all gathered and add it all together, we get, I think, in that edition, as a result, 42 cards, I think. Of course, if you add the trap cards now as well and count them. Yeah, these were my spell cards onto the Bandit Keith Battle City deck profile. And now onto the trap cards. Bandit Keith, as you might maybe not expect, had not that much of trap cards because in the duelist kingdom era he didn't use any, I think, except for Time Machine, which of course will be his first lineup as a 2-off. Time Machine, of course. If a monster of yours is destroyed, then you and put it into the graveyard, and you can special summon it in the same battle position as it was before it was destroyed. I think he used that against Joey Wheeler, a very handy effect to bring your monster back. Monster protection effect. Then, like I said, I'm not sure whether Metal Morph, and I put it two times in there with different artworks. Like I said, whether Metal Morph was, I think he played that one in Battle City with Red Eyes Black Dragon, or no, Red Eyes Black Dragon is a Joey Wheeler card, of course. Or did he destroy Red Eyes Black Dragon Monster Reborn and then equipped it to this card? Maybe then not. Maybe I'm misjudging it now, but I'm not sure. Well, anyway, but he played this one out, and I put it 2 times in there, and it works like that. If you have a monster face up on the field, target it, equip it to that card, and it gains 300 attack and defense. And if it attacks, it gains attack equal to the half of the attack target during the damage calculation only. So it's very, very cunning. And then yeah, it might might very much knock out the enemy or the opponent. And then I have Solomon Judgment, which also we might guess that Marek Ishtar put this one onto his deck. Just a sec, please. Yeah, Marek Ishtar put this one into his deck, and Solomon Judgment is of course a very, very handy floodgate, you might say, because if you floodgate counter trap, if you counter trap it, you can counter trap it to any spell, trap, effect, monster card, or summoning by paying the half of your life points. So it always comes in handy. And this was a card which back in the day, as I played against my best friend and cousin Richard, he always pulled against me, and there were many moments which this card ended the duel with a victory for him. So it's very much makes much sense to have it also in his main deck also. Another one with the with the OCG artwork, which I of course like more, is Magic Jammer, a counter trap card which negates the effect and activation of a spell card and destroys it. And last but not least, he had a card which was called similar in the manga, but yeah, I don't know, I don't recall it exactly. Also, it was called Iron Scrap, something something, and this one also is called, of course, Iron Scrap. Yeah, something. But you know, the trap card has a very good effect because if a monster declares an attack, you can target the attacking monster and prohibit it from attacking and negate the attack, and additionally set this card then back set onto your side of the field instead of bringing it to the graveyard. So it has a very cool recycle effect as well. And yeah, this were also his then trap cards. 7 trap cards in all, which yeah, it's alright, but like I doubled some of them, so otherwise it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the Iron Scrap, and after manga it will be 5. But like I said, these were very key cards also. I didn't mention that, but the Time Machine, Metamorph were very key to his deck. And cards like Solemn and Judgment, of course, or Iron Scrap Metal, and making it more playable. Now, this was his main deck. Now we switch to a side deck because he played out very many other monsters, especially in the Duelist Kingdom arc, which were Gatekeeper, all 5 stars or 6 stars, most of them 5 stars. But yeah, 5 stars with 1,500 attack, 1,800 defense, Darkness attribute. Most of them are machine types. Also, Megasonic Eye, 5 stars, Darkness attribute, 1,500 attack, 1,800 also, same stats, machine type. Giganto, 5 stars, Dark attribute, 1,700 attack, 1,800 defense, also 5 stars. Ancient Tool. Yeah, also 5 stars, 1,700 attack, 1,400 defense, also with 5 stars and makes 1 attribute. Sword Slasher, 1,450 attack, 1,500 defense, also machine type, Dark attribute, of course, also 5 stars. Like this one, Pendulum Machine, which is seen by most of the viewers and Yu-Gi-Oh players as the first pendulum card, monster card. But yeah, it's reference to that card, and it has also this one has 6 stars, 2,000 defense, 1,750 attack, machine type, of course, and Dark attribute. Then one little bit better card, but still with 7 stars, Garnecia Elephantis. Which 1,000 possesses 2,400 attack, 2,000 defense. It's a Beast Warrior, so one of the cards which were not seen in the Duelist Kingdom finals, and neither nor in the Battle City arc, but in one duel which was specific, a final from a regional tournament, I think, or maybe even world tournament, in which Pegasus used his Millennium Eye in order to make Bandit Keith blushing and embarrass him in front of the public by giving his cards to a kid and giving the kid instructions to defeat Bandit Keith, because the duel was originally a Pegasus against Bandit Keith duel, but the kid, following the orders on the instructions, defeated Bandit Keith by ease. Then a card which was also played out in the Battle City arc and was put, of course, which makes other things wouldn't make that many sense. It's not. It could be possible that it was also his card, but it is very much likely, as Bandit Keith just played out machine type monsters, that it was a card that which Marek Ishtar put in his deck. A dragon type monster, 8 stars, Seiyaru. 2500 attack and 2300 defense, light attribute. And last but not least, Metal Zoa, which of course works with Zoa, but I'm lacking Zoa, so yeah. You might imagine he would also be having this one in his side deck, because it's very, very challenging to bring this card onto the field, or the other one. And now I recall it because I just talked about Metal Morph. Metal Morph was working together with Metal Zoa, and Zoa is, I think, a Fiend type monster. So Zoa is also put in there by Marek Ishtar, and Metal Zoa. Oh no, Zoa was even, I think, in the Duelist Kingdom arc. Yeah, and Metal Zoa has 8 stars, Darkness attribute, which of course, all together with Metal Morph, is coming to existence. It's been summoned, you might say then. It has 3000 attack, 2300 defense, and only can be special summoned from your deck to your side of the field by offering Zoa equipped with Metal Morph as a tribute. So maybe in the ultimate deck profile I might make a deck profile which is more taking accountability to the course of action, summoning Metal Zoa and Zoa onto the field, and then maybe putting 1 or 2 of the other boss monsters onto his side deck, which will makes much more sense than it does right now. So guys, then this was it. This was my 42 cards Bandit Keith Battle City deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and yeah, leave me a comment what you maybe link to that very deck. Whether you like maybe the character, which was how it was presented, or maybe you disliked it, but because he's not a real villain in both arcs, but he's not or not the main villain, but he's like a side character villain. And as I already presented the main character heroes, I thought I started how it makes sense for me with the side character villains, which were controlled by Marek Ishtar, and then going up the ranks, rising it up until the very point where then Yami Marek then will be, I think, one of my last deck profiles, which I'm very much looking forward then to that. But before that, you have of course to beat all the others. Bandit Keith was the first one, and I think it came Rare Hunter, Seeker, and all the others after that. So yeah, I had very much fun making this deck, but it took me a while to make it more playable. And then I didn't do it now specifically for this deck, but normally I test this deck or shuffle it and then make some test hands with it. And always then I try to make it so good as it can be with without the support cards, as if possible, and of course if manga cards also exist, and then but make it also playable for the gold format. All these 3 factors which are considered and are to be reckoned with, more importantly for me personally. Well, like I said, I hope you guys have a very great morning, midday, afternoon, day, evening, or even night, which and whenever you might see this one. Analyze this, and if you like it, then of course you can put on the comments down below. This is this from me for this deck profile for this day. Your Slifer Maniac. Bye.